Oh, we're
We're live.
live. Yes. Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tonight in Let's Talk. Let's Talk tonight. We're talking about stress, the two of us, and food. And tonight's guest, before I tell you about tonight's guest, let me just do an intro. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, my name is Michelle Pettis, and this is Let's Talk. And we're having this conversation because over the course of my lifetime, I have lost and gained over 700 pounds. And I finally figured out how to keep it off. And after losing the weight and keeping it off, people are always asking me, oh my God, what's your secret? What's your secret? What's your secret? Well, the reality is there's not one secret. There are a number of things that help me along this journey. And I am committed, I am committed like nobody's business to do some truth telling around food and how we manage it and how we can manage it and how we can change the meaning of food in our life, how we can change our feelings about food. And in changing our mind about food, we can change our bodies. And in doing that, we can also change our lives. So, what we do in Let's Talk, and quite frankly, Let's Talk used to be called In Sarah's Closet, because that's where I found my truth. I found my truth in the closet, and because in the clothes closet, because I just wanted to look better in clothes. And what I ultimately realized that the clothes were just representative of how I wanted to show up in the world. And that's what this is about. I mean, this is about how we separate our feelings from food, get in touch with our own authentic feelings so we can show up authentically in the world, right? So that food doesn't keep us from living in our pure joy. Food doesn't keep us from our power, from our freedom, from our confidence, from any of that. And by learning how to manage it, we learn how to manage our feelings around ourselves and with the people that we are in relationship with, which is why I'm so excited about this conversation tonight. Because tonight we have Kevin and Sandra Cheney on, and they are a couple. And I'm, y'all, your heads are kind of. I see Sandra. I see part of your face, Kevin. I don't see your face. You need to move closer to Sandra. Y'all need to like. We see your head. Yes. Okay, that's perfect. So
There we
we're
go.
trying to see. Okay, there you go. That's much better. So they are on tonight, and what they're going to do is they're going to tell us about how they managed to eat healthfully during COVID. And
Mhm.
that's all on everybody's mind. How making some shifts in what they were doing, how that impacted their relationships. And so many times in this work, I hear how changing in eating patterns for one partner or the other has an impact on the relationship that's hard for them to deal with. And so we're gonna talk through that. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. If you want to come on and be on stage with us, please, we can put the link in. You can be that, but be a part of this conversation, because we're doing this conversation for anybody that wants some insight on how they can get on the other side of this thing. So now I'm going to reach out to Sandra and Kevin, let them have the stage, and they can just tell us about what we're talking about.
Where do you want us to start? How we
Yeah, yeah,
manage?
okay, yes. Okay, so what I would like to hear is when the COVID thing happened and you all decided to eat more healthfully, what was that conversation like? I mean, did you sit down at the table and say this is what we're going to do, or did it kind of just morph into it? And the next
It
thing,
It
morphed.
okay,
morphed.
okay,
There
it
was no discussion.
no, it really morphed because I'm an emotional eater at times. So I'm also a homebody, and COVID made me more of a homebody. And I had to pivot because my contracts were drying up, and I'm going, so what am I going to do now? Because I'm sitting here trying to figure out stuff. So one day I decided I'm gonna see if I can bake something from scratch. And this is why I say it morphed, because
were you
I didn't
not were you not a cooker before?
I didn't think I could cook.
Okay.
Honestly, I did not, because I wasn't that girl that grew up in the kitchen with grandma, and you know how grandmother and mother, that wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
I never learned how to cook from them. I figured it out on my own later. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think I was a good cook.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided, let me try some stuff from scratch, because I got to pivot. Let me figure out some different things. So I made this cake from scratch thinking it wasn't going to work. And it actually did. And that's how it began to morph, because I said, well, if I can bake a cake, what else can I bake from scratch?
Mm-hmm.
This is how it morphed for
Okay.
me,
All
because the
right.
cake actually, it was Kevin's birthday. We were sheltered in place. We weren't going nowhere. There were no restaurants. So I baked him a cake from
Mm-hmm.
scratch. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how it began. And he liked the cake. So then I said, well, let me find out other things that I could possibly do from scratch. Because I said, I can't keep eating cake all the time. Let us do different stuff so that we can maintain health, because we both work out. I've always worked out off and on all of my life. I pretty much always ate healthy all of my life, except when things happen, I am an emotional eater. I just am. And because I know that, I gave myself some time with COVID and said, okay, let's go ahead and do this for right now, but you can't stay here. You're going to have to
Mm-hmm.
do something different. And I gave myself the grace to be okay to eat the cake and the ice cream, because it is who we are. And if you want the cake, eat the cake, but
Mm-hmm.
don't stay there. So I had to find the balance. And we began to, I started asking him about all these recipes. I said, what about this? And what about that? He was like, okay. He went along with it.
Okay,
Well,
so quick question. So you weren't the chick in the kitchen cooking with grandma. So Kevin, were you the cooker in the family? Is that what it was, or what?
I I
Yep.
dabbled in the kitchen.
Yes.
Okay.
I grew up basically every Thanksgiving helping my grandmother cook.
Mm-hmm.
I was her sous chef. I was the one that went and got whatever she needed. But
Mm-hmm.
I paid attention. In the
Mm-hmm.
back of my mind, I never thought that I could cook, because I
Mm-hmm.
would always just get pre-cooked meals
Mm-hmm.
and heat them up, and that's what I did. And I am a junk food junkie.
Mm-hmm.
Any new bag of potato chips out there, I gotta try.
Uh-huh.
Any pastry out there, I need to try it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I knew that that wasn't good for me,
Mm-hmm.
because all it did was I would eat it, and then after it, I would regret that I ate it.
Mm-hmm.
And when COVID hit, I basically had to come home. I couldn't go to the office. A matter of fact, I was told from my manager, I tried to sneak in and do some work, and I was told from my manager I need to get up out of there.
Uh-huh.
So when I came home, I said, Sandra, here I am. I'm in your space now, because she was here, all day doing her thing. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to worry about me interrupting or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of how things started with COVID,
Mm-hmm.
us being in the same space at the same time, and how that dynamic worked.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of figured out how that was going to work. And I set up a little makeshift office. She still had her workspace, and we never really interrupted one another while we was doing our what we were doing. But when it came to food, then we started coming together more and say, okay, let's try this. Let's give this a try. And we both, or me personally, had to really back off the things that I really liked, because I like a lot of sweet things, a lot of fried stuff, and I knew that wasn't good. So
Mm-hmm.
we started working out, figuring out, okay, let's see if we can bake something. Let's see if we can just use the air fryer. Let's see what we can do.
Mm-hmm.
And we started experimenting on things.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
All
Yep.
right. So as you're talking about the things that you're experimenting with, I am now extremely curious. I mean, yeah. I want to hear about some surprises. I want to hear about some things that didn't turn out quite right, and then I want to hear about your favorites. If your in fact, just start with your three favorites.
Um, So I am a seafood lover. So I use shrimp. I didn't think that I could cook shrimp like in a way that it wouldn't be rubbery or what have you,
Undercooked.
undercooked and things like that. So I found a recipe that had stir fried shrimp with cauliflower rice. Now
Mhm.
I don't like cauliflower, like the cauliflower itself, because I
Mhm.
don't even like broccoli, but I'll eat it. And
Mhm.
so I said, let me try this cauliflower rice. I was like, I don't know if Kevin's gonna like it, but we'll see. And
Mhm.
so it was shrimp with cauliflower rice, and it had some broccoli in it, and olive oil. And I said, let me try that. Well, the rice itself, the first time I did it, it was a little hard, the rice, because I don't know how to work with cauliflower rice. But I
Mhm.
was like, I like the flavor and the mixture that I'm gonna try this again. Because he was like, oh, this is pretty good. So that actually became one of our staples, the cauliflower rice and the shrimp with broccoli, a little soy sauce, not the soy, but the amino acids instead of the soy
Yes, yeah, the liquid
sauce.
amino acids. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Hmm.
And
So
do
I
you
would
use
use
the
that.
nutritional? Do you use nutritional yeast too?
No,
Okay, so that I can tell you about the nutritional
yeah.
yeast. The liquid amino acids. Yeah.
Yes, well, I would use that, some olive oil or some kind of sesame seed, whatever oil you like. I did that, and I was like, I threw like one egg in it, stuff. So it came together. I'm like, oh, I actually like this, and so that's how it. After the cake thing, that's how that began for me. I'm like, I actually can, because I say I like seafood. So how
Mhm.
can I reimagine seafood other than having white rice or brown
Mhm.
rice, or because I
Mhm.
like rice.
Mhm.
I like rice. So the cauliflower rice did the trick for me. And so
Mhm.
that was one of the things that I just began to make. So I started thinking, well, if I could do that, what else can I reimagine? So we made this deconstructed pizza.
Yes, we did. It was very
Okay,
good.
deconstructed is a word that I when I hear that word, I think chef. That's some chef talking there. That's some chopped stuff going on. Some Iron Chef conversation.
Yeah, but we had more than 30 minutes to do it.
Yes. Like, they give you 30 minutes on
35, 45
yeah,
minutes.
we took our time with this puppy, but yeah.
Okay,
Um,
so tell me about the deconstructed.
we did it two different ways. One was actually with stuffed peppers. So the pepper was actually the
The
dough,
dough.
if you will.
Uh-huh.
And you would just cut the pepper open, and then you would put your toppings on whatever the toppings were. So of course you got your cheese, and I found some organic. I wouldn't call it organic, but dairy like cheese, but it wasn't dairy. I forgot. I think it's Daya.
Yes,
Daya.
yes, I've seen that. I've
Yes.
seen that.
Uh-huh. So
And a
I would
lot of
use
people
like
use nutritional yeast too instead of cheese. So that's what
yes.
I was asking about.
So the day was actually really good. I was like, okay, it tastes like cheese, but it's not really cheese. I liked it. So we did that, and we had like everything with fresh pepperoni. Everything was fresh, nothing packaged. And we put it all on this, on this, the green, on the pepper. We had yellow, green, and red because I like the rainbow. And we stuck it in the oven, and that was our pizza.
It
Oh
turned out
wow.
great.
It turned out really good. And you
Turned
could
out
put
really
whatever you
good.
want on there. You could put pepper, you could put chicken, or no meat if you're a no meat eater,
Hmm.
nothing at all. But
Hmm.
yes, that's what
Hmm.
we did, and it came out really
Hmm.
good.
Hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. So, okay, that's two. Do you have a third one you want to share?
Yeah, I decided one day that I was going to make my own spaghetti sauce. I was going to get the tomatoes. I was going to, you know, do what I needed to do to the tomatoes, and create my own spaghetti and meatballs. And instead of using regular noodles or spaghetti, we used
Chickpea.
chickpea spaghetti,
Oh, mm-hmm.
which was, I mean, you can't really, you could tell the difference, but it's not a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
You still have the flavor
Mm-hmm.
of spaghetti. And so, I made my tomato sauce. I used fresh tomatoes. About, I think I did the first one. I did about 10 tomatoes, and I forgot what the machine is, but it pulsates, and it just chops all the tomato. What you got to do, you got to boil it. Boil the tomato. You got to slice them first. Boil tomato. Once they get real tender, then you can pull the skin off.
Mm-hmm.
And once you pull the skin off, you get to the meat and everything, and then you can really mince
Mix
it
it.
up and mix it up. I put fresh garlic in it. I use just a little olive oil, uh, salt, pepper, oregano. I'll put it all in my sauce. Then I fixed it. Instead of using beef, we use turkey
Mm-hmm.
for the meatballs,
Mm-hmm.
and made the turkey meatballs. And with that, you just kind of mix it up, put your seasoning in, egg, fresh breadcrumbs, um, and you can put some Parmesan cheese in it as well. Mix it all in. Cook it for a little bit, and then once your sauce is cooking, you can put your meatballs in there, so the meatballs would absorb the sauce,
Yes, yes.
and just let it simmer. And we did the chickpea spaghetti, and it came out great.
And
Wow.
I could tell the difference when he makes it versus when I buy it from the store, because my stomach started acting up, and I didn't know why every time I would eat spaghetti sauce from the store. Well, because of the acidity, of course, and all the stuff they put in it. But when he would make it fresh, it was a big difference in
Yes.
terms of how my stomach and my body reacted to that.
Right.
So there's something
Right.
from making stuff from scratch. Just taking the
Yeah.
time to do
It
it.
takes time.
But
It
but
does
it's
Yeah.
take
worth
time,
it.
but it's worth it. Hmm.
You know, what I love about these stories is, especially this last point you made, is that when you make it fresh and you make it from scratch, it doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the impact. It doesn't
Hmm.
upset your stomach. And Lisa's on stage, and one of the things that she said, months ago, that has really resonated in me is that your food shouldn't hurt you.
Oh
And,
yeah.
Yes,
right. And I think sometimes
I
that,
love that.
you know,
Hmm.
right, but it's true. Like, if you sit back and think about it, people, from my estimation of what I've seen, if somebody's allergic to something, like if their throat's going to swell up, their eyes are going to pop out, they get welts, I'm allergic to it. I'm not going to, I don't, I'm not going to eat it. I can't eat seafood. I can't eat crab. I can't eat tomatoes because I'm allergic to it. There's
Hmm.
something about the word allergy that motivates people to stay away from food.
Hmm.
But yet other things do not. And it's still not, it still hurts your body. Like,
Hmm.
um, it's just like, we, I feel like we just need to be more conscious about how our bodies react to certain foods. I mean, even if it,
Yes,
what this get, and I'm not trying to be graphic, but this gives me gas. This gives me flatulence. Uh,
yes.
but I'm going to eat it anyway, right? If
Hmm.
it's doing that to you,
Broccoli.
why? Why? Why is it? The real question is, why is the pleasure of this food more important than the discomfort or the harm that it's potentially doing to your body? That's the thing that we always need to try to unpack. Is it why do we think that the fact that something tastes good trumps everything else?
Hmm.
And really pulling back the layers of that to get some real understanding that, in as much as we enjoy food, we like food, we know we can build relationships around it, all of that. The purpose of eating, the purpose of food, is to satisfy hunger. It is nutrition and nourishment. I mean, it's not entertainment, although we use it for that. It's not activity, but we use it for that. We use it
Hmm.
for companionship. We use it for joy. We use it for all the things that we need to find in people. We try to get it in,
Hmm.
try to get it in food. Um, but back to your story. I don't want to go off on a tangent here. The question I do want to ask is, post COVID and in COVID now, you all are cooking and have a different. You're cooking together and have a different cooking dynamic and eating dynamic prior to COVID.
Hmm.
Um, how has your time in the kitchen impacted your relationship? Can you talk about that?
Well,
Can you see
I'm gonna speak
changes in
for,
your relationship as a result
yeah.
of it?
So I know for me, um, it definitely, from a team perspective, because sometimes I'm his sous chef and sometimes he's mine. And we'll cut up, we'll joke, we'll just have
Put music on.
put music on and start dancing in the middle, of the cooking. Or sometimes we're having in-depth conversation while we're cooking, because it's like cooking allows you to, in my mind, relax and be at ease and be yourself, and at least for me, allows me to just lose myself in what I'm doing and just have conversation. So for me, I think it definitely showed how we actually could come together and talk things out. And food, as long as we know, way back when with Big Mama, food was always the thing that brought people together. Really, it's just But I think that when you come together, and even when you're cooking, it's the same thing. It's just that you got to reimagine how you're cooking your food, and getting creative with it. It allows, well, he's always, I think, been creative in the kitchen. It allowed me to be more creative and to see that I can do this. And him always encouraging me, telling me, see, I told you could do it. Like, he's always encouraging me in the kitchen. So that is a wonderful thing for me, because as I said, I didn't think I could cook. I mean, the normal things everybody cook, but to come and be creative with a green pepper, I didn't think I would like a green pepper like that. And it showed me something different. And with him helping me, to me, it strengthened who I was apart from him. But then it made me a better person and a better wife, because I'm like, oh, I can. I can do this. And so, yeah.
I mean, I'm never going to discourage her from trying something new, because, I mean, the thing about it is that we have to encourage one another to try. Step outside, as she always tells me, step outside yourself, step outside the box. And you may like what you get. Once you step outside and try something different.
Yep.
Like the chickpea spaghetti. I was like, I don't know about this. But I'll give it a try, The cauliflower rice. Give me some brown rice. But we tried the cauliflower rice. And, it was good. It was good. And, of course, the stuffed peppers. I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. This is how this turns out. And not only did we do it one time, we did it twice. So it turned out really great.
I need to get a hold of that spaghetti recipe, that spaghetti sauce recipe.
Well, we're gonna ask him to put that spaghetti sauce recipe in the taste kitchen. Yeah, but the one thing that I do love about these stories is that what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing from your process is that it's like this commitment to try something new,
yes,
and step out into something new and make the new thing work. And
yes,
because a lot of times we'll say, okay, I'm going to try it, and then you try it the first time and it's a disappointment. It's not quite what you thought it was going to be, and you're like, okay, well, I tried that, it didn't work. You don't try it enough to get to the point where you can get the full enjoyment of it. And so the fact that you just said, okay, maybe not this way, but this way, maybe, and that happens so much, I think, with people who are on a weight loss journey or on a journey to a better body. And one of the things that I say, along with it's not too late, and don't that it's not too late, is don't stop. If you fall off the wagon, get back on the wagon.
Yes.
You may want to stay down there for a little while, but surely if you stay down, you're going to stay down. You'll never get back up. Okay, so you tried Weight Watchers. Okay, then try something else. All right. So you try low carb, then try keto. Then you have to find the thing that works for you, because what works for everybody is not going to work for everybody.
Right.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because some of these recipes I found in this clean eating group, and I'm like, well, what's clean eating? So it piques my interest, which is why where I decided to try the cauliflower rice and the shrimp. And I'm going, because I love rice. So let's reimagine, because rice don't like me all the time. So let me reimagine how I'm going to do this because
Mm-hmm.
I do like rice. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not even an asparagus girl, but there's recipes that you can put asparagus in. And once you season it up, is all, yeah, you don't even, you
Right.
really don't, you know what I'm saying? You don't taste it, not per
Right.
se, because it comes together. So it's like, try it before, because I used to be like, nope, not doing that, not doing
Right.
that, not doing
Right.
that.
Right.
Right,
Right.
but COVID made me rethink that. It's
Right.
like because I know that I'm an emotional eater. And
Mm-hmm.
I knew after a while I was going to get sick and tired of being in this house trying to figure out how to make a cookie and some cake and all this other stuff. I had to figure out how to not get achy because I love bread, but bread makes me achy.
Mm-hmm.
If I eat too much of it, I
Mm-hmm.
start to ache a lot. It's the
Right.
yeast.
Right.
and,
Right.
and I know this, so it's the gluten too. So I need to I know it's about my body. Let's try something different. So Kevin
Mm-hmm.
was, oh, I appreciate that he was always open. I think that was the difference in our cooking together. So he was always open to try something. We always looking up recipes to
Mm-hmm.
try in the kitchen. Let's try this time. So we were always, that's one of the fun things that we would do is try. And we went and bought an air fryer specifically because I like fried chicken.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm not going to fry the chicken in the oil, but the air fryer
Mm-hmm.
makes it a whole lot better and healthier.
Okay, so
Along with,
we want the air fried chicken recipe in the you just added another one. You just added another one to these three. So
Oh,
far we're up to four.
we do fresh cut French fries too.
yeah, we do them in the air fryer. I've done salmon in the air fryer. I've done because I wanted to see, how can I reimagine what I like and make it a little healthier. So,
Mhm.
so COVID made us start thinking of creative ways to be in the kitchen
Mhm.
and to have fun with it.
Oh wow! And what you are using you're using the word reimagine, and the word that I like to use is story, right? It's the story that we tell ourselves about a different about our situation. The work that we do in I Am Brand New is to help people find their food stories, find, face, rewrite, and replace their food
Mm-hmm.
stories. And what you're to talking about tonight is the replacement. Okay, I like rice doesn't like me, but I wanted to eat something, so now I found cauliflower. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's a replacement. That's an intentional substitution, Lisa, right?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But you now have a new story. You now have a new story that cauliflower is something that you can like and enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
and that you never thought you could before. It's
Right.
it's so much of this is the stories that we tell ourselves about food, what food means, and what certain foods mean, and how to eat certain foods that don't that they may or may not be the truth.
I
They
made some banana nut bread that was gluten free. Like I went and found some flour that
Mhm.
because again, these are things that I like. So I'm like, how can I make this different? And so they have the almond flour, all those other kind of flours out there. So I actually tried a different flour,
Mhm.
and and not so much sugar, but it had the recipe called for stevia and some other kind of stuff. And I was like, well, let me just try this thing and see if I'm gonna like it. It actually came out. I was pleasantly surprised, but I liked it because
Right.
I like banana nut bread.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
how can I make it different? Because it doesn't mean that you can't have what you want. Like you just gotta reimagine how you can do it.
Right. You gotta reimagine it. And the other thing that as we talk about food and the role that food plays and how we use it, I think a lot of times um, people just stop at the food. They make the food the end.
Mm-hmm.
And in reality, food is just a means to an end.
Mm-hmm.
The end is our bodies, right? The end is our health. The end is how we want to feel, what we want to look like. So if we
Mm-hmm.
start with the end um, driving our decision, it will help us make better choices about the food. So if
Yes.
yeah, we know we want to wake up feeling good, we want to have more energy than the day, then what am I going to eat that's going to allow me to feel that way? I know I want to lose weight. I want to wear a certain thing. I want to achieve certain body goals. What is it that I'm going to eat that will allow me to achieve those goals? We start there, where so many times all of our decisions are, at least mine, and I know this because I did it for 42 years. Ooh, what tastes good? That was the beginning and the end of the decision. What's good? What do I have a taste for? Yeah, that that was the only criteria. What does it taste like? And until we just make a shift, and we're conscious about making those shifts, like you all have done, we're always going to be in a battle. We're always going to be out of alignment between our mind, our body, and hunger and eating, and we're always going to we won't be approaching this whole situation from a position of power and control and freedom and all that, which is available to us if we just make a change.
Yeah. So I know one thing that for me I have to be conscious of is the salt intake or the seasonings that I put on my food. I had to try to find substitutes for that salt. Because I would use salt on everything. I would put salt on food that I haven't tasted yet.
Oh,
yes.
Oh,
yes.
Oh,
yeah, and I have to make a conscious effort not to do that. And
how did you stop yourself, Kevin? How did you stop yourself from doing that?
I haven't.
I still do it. He's still figuring it out.
I'm still figuring it out. I'm still trying to figure out. Okay, let me taste my food first.
Yes.
And see if I need to put any more seasoning on it. When I'm making, for example, tuna fish, because I do make a lot of tuna fish so it's quick and easy for lunch, and I have to be mindful of how much salt I put in the tuna fish. Usually I will just put it in, and now I'm very careful and conscious of how much I do. And so instead of using salt, I use some adobe, and pepper, and I like to put cayenne in my tuna fish. Gives a little kick.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that I'm doing to try to limit, not totally limit, but cut back on the amount of salt that I use in my food.
And I will say that he's definitely getting a lot better, because I can't remember the dish that he made, but he made a dish one day and he said, I forgot to put salt in it. But when he ate it, he didn't need the salt, because I keep a lot of fresh herbs and stuff like that. I'm an herb girl. So I use a lot of herbs more so than I will use salt. And he recognized, that's when he recognized, oh, I don't even need to use a lot of salt. And the salt that we use really is not your table salt, it's the Himalayan pink salt, because you don't need a lot of that.
You don't.
It really helps you to cut back on salt. If you're going to use salt, you really just need a pink, because it's so strong, and so you don't need a lot. And that is one way that he has been cutting back, because I don't buy the
regular salt.
I use the Himalayan pink table
because
it helps tremendously, and I keep a lot of herbs. So that he's learned to switch over to start using herbs now. During COVID, oh my God, I started buying so many herbs. I had to figure out how to make them nice and neat in my cabinet, because I was going herb crazy.
You open up the door
so I do have a question for you guys. Have you, in this journey, have you found that if food is more flavorful, you don't need as much of it? Or if the food is a better quality of food, you don't need as much of it?
Yes. We have small plates. We use small plates now, which I find funny, because I never saw myself going to a small plate. But we use a small plate, and we found that when we ate, we were like, "Oh, we full. What were we doing before?"
Right. We don't need as much food as the Cheesecake Factory tells us that we need.
Oh my God.
Right. I'm not hating on Cheesecake Factory, but here's the thing, and here's how people get in trouble. If you grew up like a lot of people, like I did, where we don't waste food in this house. You need to clean your plate. Right? And
Yep.
so you don't when you sit down to eat, you're not even thinking about whether you're really full or you're not even thinking about that. You've got this food story, this old programming that's running in your head that has you really not even paying attention to what your body is telling you, because you got a food story that says I need to clean my plate, right?
And it's not a little plate either.
And it's not a little plate, exactly.
Mhm.
And so that
Yes.
that's the kind of stuff that we have to consciously rewrite, because
Mhm.
it doesn't serve us. And they're just stories like that are ingrained in us that we don't even
Mm-hmm.
always recognize that they're working behind the scenes and driving our eating habits. But that's the one thing that I did notice is that, um, just because you get a lot of food, right? A lot doesn't make it better.
Right.
Flavor makes it better. Flavor makes it better,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And I used to find that I would get recommendations from people about, oh well, why don't you go to where should I go eat, right? And man, oh man, sometimes all the recommendations I would get, the the food would be so, but they would give you these huge portions, and that was like the criteria. Go there because they give you a lot.
A lot of
That's
food.
that is tasteless.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And since COVID though, I find that we cook more
Mhm.
since COVID for us. And it's not that we don't go out to restaurants, but I probably can make that and probably make it in my mind better, or at least to my liking. And so we actually have cooked more now than we have pre-COVID,
Mhm.
I think. And I find that it is healthier. For the most part, we're not going to bed miserable,
Right.
um, tossing and turning because I can't sleep now because my stomach is like, okay, what are we doing?
Mhm.
We even eat early. We used to eat sometimes like at 7, 8. We're eating at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're
Mhm.
eating earlier
Mhm.
because my mind is already saying my body needs time to digest this, and it needs time
Yes.
to
Yes.
regenerate itself. It needs time to rest from all the chewing and stuff
Right.
like that. So I will not eat anything like after 8 o'clock.
Mhm.
So we eat like if I'm going to have a snack, I better get it before 8. So it could be cherries or something like that, or some nuts. But we eat earlier, and I find that helps tremendous. I know I saw you. Yes, I find that helps me tremendously. When I do that, when I eat
Mhm.
earlier in the
Mhm.
day, which
Oh,
is so strange to me because I used to eat anytime. It could be 10 o'clock at night, and I'm eating
right.
something.
Right. But that is so smart. So I do have a question. I want to ask you about your business and working from home and being together. But I do want to ask if you found that this COVID environment has caused you to pivot in other ways that you have found to be beneficial. Because we hear so much stuff about, COVID happened and it's adversely impacted me this way, and now, and, in many cases that, I felt like that it was an opportunity for us to figure out how to do things better.
Mm-hmm.
If we looked at it, there are some benefits. There's some things that we learned how to do during COVID that if we're smart, we will continue to do, because
Mm-hmm.
it's just a better way of doing it, and the circumstance forced us to do it. So my question is, have you found other things that have shifted as a result of this that you feel like that you will continue to do?
Well, more meditation for me, definitely. I found that was very helpful in terms of figuring out what my next steps were going to be, and recognizing that rest is important.
Oh, yes.
And I think that's one of the things I have instituted more now than I did before,
Mm-hmm.
because like the energetic buzz, I gotta do this, I gotta be here, I gotta do that, but everywhere and always tired. And COVID made us all sit our butts down for a minute. It
Mm-hmm.
did.
Mm-hmm.
And it really forced you to like, what am I going to do now? I do have to get some rest somewhere. And so it for me, it really forced me to slow down,
Mm-hmm.
and forced me. And I think for Kevin too, because he would be gone a lot. And now that he's been home, he's laid back anyway, but I think he's more laid back now since he's been home. But that's a good thing for me, though, for him, because he was getting even less rest than I was.
Right.
And so I think the biggest thing is that I think we dismiss rest as a whole. I don't think we think it is important as it should be, because our bodies need that. There is no way you can function. I mean, eating is one thing, but the other piece of that is you got to rest. And so for me, that is one of the biggest things I've instituted, and not feel guilty.
Yes. And you know, it is so funny that you mentioned that, Sandra, because I think about my journey in trying to lose weight and all that over the years, and trying every diet plan out there, and not almost all of them, in all the diet plans, here's what they say. They say get 8 hours of sleep. They say drink 8 glasses of water. And
that's the other thing.
And they say journal. They say write.
Yes.
Those 3 things for 42 years, though I skipped right over those things. I went straight to what can I eat? What can I not have? What are the calories? Went straight to that. And it wasn't until I got woke, you know, till I got some clarity that doing those 3 things, the rest, the water, and the journal, allow you to manage the food better. Those 3 things are the foundation. And that your body heals itself while you sleep. And obesity, for sure, is a disease. And so if we're trying to fight that off, we need rest to do it. We need water to process the toxins out of our body. And certainly journaling, not just, you know, what you eat, right? That's important to do, because we can't fix it if we can't face it. And one way to face it is to write it down. If you see it in black and white, didn't do any of that. And so hearing you say this, and even hearing other guests that have come on, and we have these conversations, hearing them say it is like, all right, y'all, it's just not me saying that. It's other people. And that's why it's so important to have as many voices as we can, just reinforcing that message, because for a long time it has seemed like that. Oh, I only need 3 hours of sleep, or I only need 5 hours. It's like some sort of like bragging rights, some sort of badge of honor that, I never sleep. Well, God bless. Is that why you're so crazy?
But you know what, Michelle, something just dropped when you were saying that, is because we're in this grind culture. So even in the grind culture, you're not eating healthy, you're not resting. So I tell people always say to me, well, you're small. I used to get this all the time. You don't need to work out as much. You don't need to do this. I'm like, no, that's not true. I said, because I know people who are small that have health issues.
Right.
I know people, I said, so it has something to do with it. It has everything to do with, I have to treat this body right. And rest is one of those things that I must do, and not, get 2 hours of sleep and get back up and go back to work again. That just doesn't work, for me. And when you do that, you just eat. Most times you're just eating what you can get your hands on, because you're not, I'm not saying put yourself on a schedule, but for me, it's like when I wake up in the morning, I know exactly what I'm getting ready to do. And I'm actually doing intermittent fasting. So I don't even eat first thing in the morning. I drink a lot of liquids and water first thing. And my first meal is at 1 o'clock, but that's because I am doing something different for my body, and my body is actually acting to that for me. And so, like you said, you got to find what fits for you. But the rest and how I approach everything is why I think I feel differently than I have in a long time. But the rest is the biggest thing for me, because people will have you feel guilty if you are like, well, yeah, I stayed in the bed, past 6 o'clock this morning. Like I'm saying, like, and they go 6 o'clock. I was up at 4. Well, I'm having a competition with you. I'm going to get that. It's important.
What were you doing at 4 a.m.?
Right. Because if you're up at 4, that means you went to bed in enough time to get your proper rest.
Right.
To be up at 4.
Right, right, yeah. If you went to bed at 8 o'clock, right, then that's one that's one thing. But
Well, I used to come home from work and sleep, which I figured was a pretty bad thing to do because I would eventually stay up until like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then try to go to sleep and get up at 7 to go to work.
oh man,
It didn't work. I would come home, get home at 6, and I said, "Well, I'm just going to lay down for an hour." Next thing I know, it's 10 o'clock.
mm-hmm,
By the time I'm waking up,
mm-hmm,
I haven't eaten, I haven't
Mhm.
done anything.
mm-hmm.
So I'm eating at 10:30,
Mhm.
and now I'm trying to go back to sleep, but I'm not sleeping. Next
Right,
thing I know, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm still up watching television or trying or read or something, trying to make myself sleepy. And
right,
finally, when I go to sleep, I got to turn around and get back up at 7 o'clock to
right,
get ready to go to work.
right. So you were sleep deprived, and the sleep you were getting wasn't even good quality sleep.
Exactly.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah,
hmm
yeah.
And COVID had just made you rethink a whole bunch of things in terms of how you're doing it.
Right, 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 right. So we are, man. We this conversation around food and eating and changing our habits is just like it's taken off for almost the past hour. And what I want to make sure that anybody that's watching, that if you have any questions for Kevin and Sandra, please put them in the chat. If you have any questions or comments for me, please put them in the chat as well. We've got about 15 more minutes, and I want to make sure that we just pivot just a little bit because in as much as we're talking about our eating habits during COVID, Sandra and I met like years ago on a whole different arena. In a
Yep.
completely different arena. And so even though tonight's conversation is about a stress, the two of us in food, I'm particularly interested, and I really want Sandra to talk about what she does at home while she was working at home in her home office. And I want anybody that's watching to be able to get in touch with her, because wait till you find out what her day job is. I just
Yeah. So I am a nonprofit consultant. Well, I'm a speaker, author, 7 times bestselling author, but I'm also a consultant, nonprofit consultant, and it is my heart. It's funny because that is one of the reasons why I have to get the rest that I get, because nonprofit work can be stressful. It really can be because of who you're serving and the audience that you're serving. However, my passion is to see nonprofits succeed. So I help nonprofits start, fund, and build. Wherever you are in that process, whether you're starting a nonprofit, whether it is you're like, okay, I started it, what do I do next? Or if you someone who needs to fund, because I am also a federal grant reviewer. I do those things to maintain, so I know what's out, keep my finger on the pulse, if you will, but that I can help nonprofits build, because my background is domestic violence and sexual assault. It is my experience, but it's also how I got my start in the nonprofit arena. And I love to see nonprofits who are making impacts in their community, because they're so needed, especially now. They are so very needed. So that is one of the things I do, but I'm also an author, and I have 3 books of my own, and then I'm an author, a co-author in like I think 8 other books, and I'm working on book 4
Oh wow.
for myself. And then my husband and I are going to be co-authors in a book for couples and how they deal with entrepreneurship. And
Oh wow. Wow.
yes,
I love that. I
so
love that. That's exciting. That's
yeah,
exciting. So
yes.
I'm waiting for your husband and I to come out with your cookbook.
Let me find- you are the second person who has said that to me.
I'm just saying,
We have to develop some original recipes.
Yes, you need to. So that means I get in the kitchen now and start testing
Oh,
things.
Lord.
Yes, yes.
All right. So how have you had to I guess shift how you work in the past year? Shift your approach to work in the past year.
You mean the both of us? And
Well,
yeah,
I was talking to you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, well, for one thing, like he said, I've always had the space to my, we downsized from a home to now living in like a condo apartment. And so that was a shift because I was always here by myself and he was always gone. So coming together and, sharing this space during COVID really showed me how much, honestly, that we could be in the same space together and really work together, not so much compromise, but give each other the space that we need to do what we need to do. For me, one of the things I just had to I'm gonna be honest, this has been a faith walk. It has been trust in God that we know we can get through this in terms of COVID, having to rebuild business. I had to rebuild, but the part about rebuilding came from resting and hearing clearly what steps I need to take. Because otherwise, I'd probably be you wouldn't be having this conversation. I'd probably be like, Michelle, I can do this conversation because I didn't eat cake every day. I didn't have cookies. I didn't have so we can't do this conversation and me be truthful. But it came from the rest, so I could really hear God and say, so what am I going to do? How am I going to pivot? How am I going to shift? Because yes, business. I don't like to say business was lost. It is what it was. What it was. If it was meant to be, it would have come back and so that part was done. Let's go over here now. So I've been writing. I've been writing. I've given some of my time to help some nonprofits because not everybody's not able. And I'm not saying I do this for free, but sometimes God will lead me to just support other nonprofits. And so I just pay attention because I don't know where this is going to take me. I just know that God has been good to us. And because of us being able to work together in this space and still like each other, by the way. Really, because everybody can't say that. We still like each other. That it really has been it's been a good thing. I'm beginning to see some doors and things open, so it's been good.
It's been a positive journey.
Yeah, it has been. It's been a positive journey for the both of us.
Yes. I love that.
You're going to have your trying days because, like she said, I was used to being out. I work in sales, so I'm out visiting customers and clients and that sort of thing. And when COVID hit, that kind of stopped. It I would only see customers who really needed my services, needed help. And that was an adjustment because before you're getting up and you're running out the door. Now I'm getting up.
Working out.
I was going to say. You running to the closet? You running down the hall to you running down the hall to the closet?
I'm walking now. I'm walking in the morning. I do 3 to 4 miles, not every day, but every other day, and then I'm going to the gym or to the weight room and lifting weights. So I'm altering that workout. But before, I would just run out, eat my breakfast, get in the car, and I'm off to whatever I'm doing that day. So that was the shift for me, the major shift for me.
So Kevin, once things start to get a little more normal, and who knows what that's going to look like, is that something you're going to continue? Is that how?
Well, the way my job is, I can work from home anyway, which is a great thing. So I really don't need to go to the office only if I really have to. And so I figured out how to do it. So there's no sense in me going to the office only if I have to. we have our Zoom meetings. We don't have to be there in person. I'm sure that's what they want to do that eventually. But we have our Zoom sales meetings. Any type of vendors that need to come on, they'll Zoom us. We'll have a conference Zoom that way. So I mean, this is a new way of doing business, a new way of doing the business that I do.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's funny you asked that question because I asked him the same question, and he was like, "Well, yeah, I didn't switch now." Basically, what was his answer? I switched
Right.
because now he makes time to do the workout. He makes time to
Mm-hmm.
do the things because he doesn't have to rush to the office anymore. So it shifted a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things
Yeah.
for us.
I mean, it's like if you make the shift in a positive direction, you make a shift, and it's something that benefits you and it's good for you. What's the point of shifting backwards?
Right.
A lot of times I talk about babies. I talk about babies that crawl, right? When they're crawling, they're just crawling all over the place. But as they're crawling, they are looking at the people that are walking, right? And they are looking at the people that are walking with excitement, right? They want to learn how to walk. They want that freedom. They want that movement. And as soon as they learn how to do this new thing, this new walking thing, they don't go back to crawling. I mean,
No.
it's not even something that occurs to them
Mm-hmm.
to
No.
go back to go backwards.
When they fall down, they get right back up.
And you know what, Kevin? Here's the other thing about it is they fall down and they get right back up, and they are happy. You watch them. The first time they fall and it surprises them, they might cry, but they get right back up and they are happy. They're even happy when they're falling because they can feel themselves learning. And growing. You watch them. They
They're
don't
laughing.
even care. They don't even care that they're falling. They're just, and Lisa, you have kids. They're falling and moving forward till they get this walking thing down. And and that is how I see, as adults, we lose that as we're looking to learn new things. We get so tight or get so
You get caught up in
we
your
are.
world.
Right, that we can't even appreciate that. That's before us. The opportunity
Right.
that's before us. If we'll just let go of this and learn something new, and be happy about learning something new. And that's the thing. One of the things I think people have such a hard time when they're on diets is that they're mad. That they're mad that they've got to give up a certain food or eat a different way, and they're not happy about the fact that by doing this differently, I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna feel better. I'm
Yeah.
gonna look better. I'm gonna have a better situation. They're so focused on this thing that they've got to release. So that's the work. That's the journey. That's what we teach. We keep pressing that forward. Where our time is starting to wind down. I don't want to. I want to be honored. I want to be respectful of your time, respectful of the viewers' time, and I'm just so appreciate you dropping in this evening. I appreciate you sharing your journey. Appreciate you sharing your wisdom. And Sandra, share your website. Share your website for anybody that might have interest beyond this food thing that we're talking about. Because I want them to be able to get in touch with you, or if they may know somebody that has a nonprofit, or they may want to start a nonprofit, or just may have anything that they want to reach out to you about.
Sure.
So share that.
It is.
Can we also get
Sandra
information
with an
about your
A.
books? Get information about your books that you've
Yes.
written, so we can put that on the page.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
So all of that is going to be on my website at sandrachaney.com, SANDRA, and then Chaney.com. How to find me on social media. All my books are there. Everything is on my YouTube channel, all of that. Because I don't just talk about nonprofits. I share my journey, my own exercise journey, even on YouTube and stuff like that. Because I know that it's a challenge for people, and I get it. It is about a mindset, and so I share my epiphanies as well. So you find that all that on my website.
Oh, that's good. I love that. The epiphanies. Share the epiphanies. So we want to share your epiphanies. I'm definitely going to reach out to you because we want those recipes. We want especially that recipe. We want the recipe. We want the deconstructed pizza. We want the seafood and
Yes.
cauliflower. Right,
The tomato sauce. Yes.
We want those in the taste kitchen. I know I want them in the taste kitchen. I don't know about anybody else, but I want them in the taste kitchen. And this conversation is going to be up. It's going to be up in the I Am Brand New Facebook page. If you're not in I Am Brand New Now, you can join the Facebook group at I Am Brand New Now on Facebook, or you can check it out on the I Am Brand New Now YouTube channel. If you want to reach out to me, any sort of information and insight on your food journey, your food stories, rewriting, finding, facing, rewriting, and replacing, you can reach out to me at iambrandnewnow.com. iambrandnewnow@gmail.com. So thanks for joining. Kevin, Sandra, thank you so much. I hope we see you again. And we'll keep on talking on Sunday nights at 7:00. Good
Thank
night,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, now we get Lisa. Can you turn it off?
I'm gonna try.
How did we end it?
Oh,
I think we're still live. Lisa's off.
we're
All right,
still
guys.
live.
All right.
Okay. They're off.